What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of JD Talks NASCAR. There's several things to talk about with the trip to Martinsville this weekend. Had a great time with my son and my mom and her best friend. It's a great time. Great, I think the race was a lot better in person than what I've seen on TV. Seems like people really didn't enjoy it on TV, so we'll talk about that and just the weekend overall. I'm going to start out by saying Hendrick Motorsports, the whole 40th anniversary thing was awesome. They had, of course, the ruby red cars. They had merch in the haulers for the 40th. They had the huge tents set up in turn two for like Hendrick employees and their families. Just an awesome experience. I'm glad that came together for them and they were able to do something cool with that. I'd like to see more of that, honestly, like for special anniversaries for teams, the special schemes. I really would enjoy that a lot. I always love new paint schemes being introduced into NASCAR, and the ruby red was really, really cool addition to that. So, and it helps when your cars are running up front all day long too, which we'll get to that. But I thought the Hendrick 40th anniversary thing was definitely a success on many levels. Um, n- I wanted to start with the Hendrick thing, but 1B, the Martinsville hot dogs are legit. I'm just going to tell you. I didn't necessarily believe the hype. Um, this is my first time at Martinsville, and you hear every time that they're there, oh man, you got to try the hot dogs. The hot dogs are the best. In the world, best at NASCAR tracks. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't believe the hype until I tried it, and for $2, it was. I mean, even I would pay a little bit more for them. They were that good. So I give the hot dogs A plus plus. I would, and if I go back to Martinsville, that's definitely what I'm eating. Um, you know, it was definitely the cheapest NASCAR related trip I've been on, combined with uh, the cheap tickets combined with the eating at the track. I mean, it was $2 for a hot dog. You can't beat that. And I definitely stacked up on those. So um, I thought the race itself, like I said in the intro, being there, I enjoyed it. It wasn't the greatest race of all time that I've seen live in person, but it I mean, it wasn't boring at all by any means. I don't think you could be bored. If you're a true NASCAR fan and you enjoy it and you want to be there, I don't think you can be bored at a NASCAR race. I mean, it's just that insane. The noise, the smell of the burnt rubber, the fuel. I mean, it gets you engaged, gets you really enjoying the race. So, but we'll get into it. Obviously, the biggest issue that everyone's talking about is the short track package itself. It's becoming really hard to pass. Well, I mean, I say becoming. It's always been hard to pass at short tracks in this new car, and I think the drivers, other media are getting really sick of it. I think I would be sick of it if I watched it on TV once again. But being there, I mean, it was fine. Um, That's another one I would say was perfectly acceptable being there in live in person. But, and it doesn't I mean, Fox is Fox. Like they're not the best um TV broadcast. I would rather watch NBC to be honest with you, but you know, there's only so much the broadcast can do as well when they're running through a short track single file. For just one example that jumps out at me is I think it was at the end of stage two, maybe even the end of the race. It was all kind of a blur, but there was at one point late in the race where Denny, when I go to races, I'm strictly keeping an eye on where Denny is and how he's running, what he's doing. I kid you not, it took him at least 40 to 50 laps to get by a car that was last on the lead lap or maybe even a lap down. And he did it twice. Austin Dillon and Austin Cindric both. He could not get by. He would go in the corner. He would try to get by him, and he finally got to the point where he had to bump him, and even bumping him, he couldn't pass him. And it's just impossible. Um, it's just, and I hate it for the guys. I hate it because short track racing in NASCAR is the roots of NASCAR. Um, it's what most people live for watching the sport. It's where most of their guys come up, whether it's in late models or whatever. Short tracks are the most important part of NASCAR, in my opinion. So definitely something has to change. I loved and I know it was probably too much change, but I loved the Bristol race. I love the drivers having to conserve tires. Um, it, there was definitely a lot more passing because you had some people going 100% from the jump. You had some people laying back, saving their tire for late in the run. We've got to find a happy medium between what it is now and what Bristol was, in my opinion. That's what we've got to find. I don't know if that's up to Goodyear. I don't know if it's up to eliminating shifting in the next gen car. I don't know what but it has to be fixed because the short track program has honestly been dreadful. Um, there are some high points, but for the most part, it's been how it was on Sunday. So I don't want to be a downer. I don't want to be a downer, but at the same time, you have to be honest with the product that you're watching. And I thought NASCAR has done a great job to begin this season. They are off to a heck of a start until these last two races. These last two have been, last week helped me in my opinions because Denny won. But as far as the racing before that, it was decent, but it just it's not where it needs to be. So, and I'm not the guy to ask what do we need to change. I gave you some of my opinions. Obviously, I think it starts with the tire. I think if you make the tire softer, make some changes, I think you'll start seeing more tire wear. Therefore, it leads to more passing. Um, but I'll also say the drivers are in cars now that are built the exact same. Um, therefore, it's going to be harder to pass regardless. So we'll see but I saw NASCAR made a statement today that they are working to improve it. So I don't know if I would honestly think their first step will be the tire. If I had to guess, that's my prediction that they try to change the tire to somewhat similar to what it was to Bristol, but not as much fall off. That's my prediction. And if they do that, I think we're cooking. I think the mile and a half program's already awesome with the next gen car. Super speedways, people tend to not like them. I mean, I like super speedways better with the Gen 6 car, but I think they're watchable still with the next gen. But short tracks, are almost unwatchable if you're not 100% diehard fan. So definitely changes have to come with that. Now, as far as the race recap, it took me close to 10 minutes to get all that off my chest, but it was a Hendrick slash Denny Hamlin dominated day for the most part. The race itself was Kyle Larson led, I think, every lap in stage one, and won the stage. So Larson looked really good early, but then his car kind of fell off a little bit, which he still finished second, I think. But he was top five all day, but it just goes back to once he lost his track position on pit road, it was hard for him to get back. He never did get back to the lead. Joey Logano takes two tires, and that's what jumped Larson. Paul Wolf makes the call to take two, and it seemed to work until about 100 and so laps in, which is crazy to think about. Like you think if you stay out on two tires, you're going to get passed. You're definitely going to get passed as the run goes on. But Joey did a good job of staying in the lead, and for the most, he didn't end up winning the stage. But he led for most of the second stage because of that call. I thought, I was surprised more people didn't take two tires as the race went on. Ryan Blaney, trouble on pit road for the first stop there. Uh, I'm not sure what the issue was, but I did see him have to come back down, and he ends up somehow coming from. I mean, he did a great job. I don't know if they took two on that last set of stops. I want to think they did, but I'm not sure. I think he ended up finishing top five, but he had to go to the back there after that. And then Ricky Stenhouse, Chase Elliott, contact on pit road. It didn't damage either one of their cars that I know of. It was just a quick spin. Chase got out of it fine. Ricky was kind of stuck in the pit stall and got caught for speeding after that. Todd Gilliland, who had a pretty good run for most of the day, he removed equipment during that stop. Um, he he came out with the adjustment bar still on his windshield, um, and had to go back down. Christopher Bell, man, he had a terrible day. That's he just couldn't get anything going. Finish. I mean, he ended up finishing in the back, of course, but as the tire go down, he looked quick at the beginning of the race. I mean, you didn't see too much passing the whole day, but he seemed like he had a car that could contend, at least run top five, top 10. He spins, flat tire, ends up leaving debris on the track, so they call caution for that. And then Denny Hamlin wins the second stage, and Denny has led a lap in every race so far this season, which is huge. Um, the 11 team continued to roll. He led a lot of laps at Martinsville. I was excited. I thought I might get to see him win his second one uh, that I've been there, and but he came up short. But won the stage, had a good run. There's no doubt in my mind this 11 team's rolling better than they had. I said it last week after the win. They are really exciting me how good they're running. They're third in the regular season right now, points, 17 points back. But I would watch out for that 11 team. I think, especially if they keep running the way they are now. This is the first short track of the season he hasn't won, and he led a lot of laps still. Um, we'll see how he runs at Texas. Lately, it seems like he's been quick there, but not their best track. But I'll be anxious to see how he runs there at Texas. Christopher Bell spins again for the second time. Just a dreadful day for Christopher Bell. He's usually pretty good at Martinsville. He's won there before, so it was definitely disappointing to see him. I like C Bell. I mean, you all know if you listened, I'm a fan of C Bell, and I hated to see him struggle so bad. The Denny and Chase battle for the lead, and that happened once. Uh, well, no, there was Denny and Chase came out. I think Chase took two tires, and that's what put him in that position for second place. And then Denny didn't get going, get on the restart, so Chase outmuscles him and leads some laps. Denny finally catches him on the long run, and they battled door to door for several laps. It was good to see good, clean racing between them after the incident at Charlotte. My son is a Chase Elliott fan, and I'm a Denny Hamlin fan. I mean, if some of y'all know about my son. I've mentioned that before. I don't know how he ended up a Chase Elliott fan, but anytime they are battling on the track, we just kind of look at each other nervously and laugh. And that was one of those times that I know I was for sure nervous. He wasn't feeling the best this weekend, so he wasn't all that stressed out about it. But uh, he was more ready to get home the way he was feeling. So, but we still had a good weekend. He enjoys going to races as well, and like I said, he really wanted to see Chase win one since he hasn't won in forever. Me, on the other hand, I've seen Chase Elliott win so many races in person. I'm good if I never see him win another one. But uh, that's neither here nor there. On to the next thing. Um, green flag stops really hurt Denny and helped the Hendrick guys. Denny was leading, starting the green flag cycle. And then Rudy Fugle makes the call of the day, brings William Byron down a couple laps earlier than Denny, and the pit crew does a great job for the 24. He hops Chase and Denny, and Byron goes on to win the race. Um, it went green up until 2 to go, when John Hunter Nemechek um, got into the fence. I think he lost a brake rotor. That's what caused that. I was standing. I honestly started heading for the exits with about 20 to go because um, I thought it was just going to go green, and uh, I was like, well, we can stand right here by the exit door and watch to see what happens. Then all of a sudden, caution with 2 to go, and John Hunter's car, and he came right in front of us there while we were standing, and his inside of his tire was on fire, and the wheel part, and you could tell he had definitely brake issues. So the restart was pretty. I mean, it was somewhat eventful in the back of the pack. I know there was a spin with Austin Cindric, Brad Keselowski. That was definitely started by Carson Hocevar. It looked like on the onboard I saw, at least. I saw Noah Gregson's onboard, and it looks like Hocevar just dive bombed in 3 wide and caused that. Fox didn't even cover it. Apparently, I haven't went back and watched the race on broadcast. I've had other things going on with my other podcast. Huge news around Kentucky. If you follow Kentucky basketball, but you know that the restart itself, um, like I said, pretty uneventful in the front. I'm pretty sure all three of the Hinder guys that were running top three were told, "One of you all bring it home. Like don't wreck each other. We're in a good spot. It's our 40th anniversary. Just I don't care who wins, but one of you all bring this thing home." And that ended up being William Byron, who won his third race of the year. And he's the only guy. I think it's Byron and Denny's year. I mean, they look. I think it's going to be one of them winning the title. They look both insanely fast every week. If Byron brings a slow car to the track and qualifies 18th or 20th, by the end of the race, they're in victory lane most of the time. I mean, they're good at making adjustments if they unload slower than they think they're going to, but a lot of the times they unload fast. I mean, that's Denny's thing. They unload very quick, and from there just manage their race and end up in victory lane. Byron has 3 wins now. Denny with 2, and like I said, it kind of seems like it's between those two. And I know it's early, but early on, they definitely look like the 2 best drivers in the field this year. I'm going to go back and look now at some notable finishers. Um, I think it was a perfect weather day for sure. I mean, that's the best weather we could ask for. That's the best weather I've been a part of at a race in a while. Sunshine everywhere, no clouds in the sky. It was refreshing to have that. Even at Martinsville, I mean, Martinsville has been impacted by weather. The first race for a while, it's usually cold, sometimes snowy. I remember a couple years ago it was snowy. But notable finishers, I want to shout out Bubba Wallace for a great run. He started second. He ran top 5 all day long. Ends up finishing 4th. He's pretty. I think that's his first top 5 at Martinsville, but I think he tends to really like Martinsville. Um, and 4th for him, 7th for Reddick, who was dreadful there in the playoff race last year. Could barely stay on the lead lap. So to run 7th was very good for him. Alex Bowman, my fantasy pick. I finally have a good fantasy day. He runs 8th. He was He was running 6th or 7th basically all day long, and the last restart loses the spot back to 8th. Ron Priest and Chase Briscoe, 2 Stuart Haas guys. Chase Briscoe, well, I'll just say both of them. Usually very good at Martinsville. Ron Priest, of course, a modified guy who grabbed the pole there last year and led a lot of laps. He did a very good job managing his race and brings it home 9th. Briscoe 10th. Eric Jones 12th. Todd Gilliland 13th. Which if Gilliland didn't have that penalty, he could have ran top 10 for sure. Hocevar 17th and Gregson 20th. Now for notable finishers that weren't so weren't so good. Um, Josh Berry, which he ran good up until his pit road issue. I didn't recap that. I think he had a man over the wall too soon or something. 25th, Brad Kay usually runs good here at Martinsville. 24th, disappointing day for them. Uh, Austin Dillon, man, I I don't know what has happened with the 3 team. I really don't. They switched crew chiefs this week, and it seemed like they were excited about that change, and then they show up this weekend, and they were off bad. There was a time that there was 10, 15 laps, and I know 10, 15 ain't much at Martinsville, but there was 10, 15 laps there where he was running in the very back with David Starr, and that's not a joke. I saw it in person. Um, it reminds me of last year with Chase Briscoe. How at the beginning of the year, and I saw this in person. I saw him running in the back with BJ McLeod at the Coke 600 last year. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's time for Dylan to move on to maybe an administrative role. I don't know if it's something with the team, like RCR itself. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'd definitely like to see Austin Dillon starting to run better as this goes on. He's 34th place finish. Christopher Bell, like I said, terrible run for him. Terrible day, terrible race in general for him. He brings it home 35th. And then John Hunter Nemechek, who has had a pretty solid start to his season with the brake issue, finishes 36th. So there's some notable finishers. I want to pat myself on the back for, finally picking some winners right. I picked Christian Eckes to win the truck race at Martinsville. I think he's the best short track guy there is in the truck series, and he gets it done. And then Eric Almirola in the Xfinity series wins for Joe Gibbs Racing. I definitely uh, am proud of finally getting some picks right. Hopefully, we can get in the flow now, since the last couple weeks have been very kind to me in my race picks. The Cup Series, I picked Kyle Busch. I went out on a limb. I didn't want to pick a favorite. In the back of my mind, and I said this before the race to the people I went with, I said, a Hendrick car is going to win today. There's just no way that they don't. I honestly thought it would be Chase. I thought the stars were aligning. Chase looked quick in practice, quick in qualifying. I thought this was going to be Chase's day to win. But a Hendrick car wins, and it's William Byron. So congrats to the 24 team. Maybe I'll get back on track with my Cup picks today, or today, and for Sunday at Texas. All 3 series are in Texas this weekend. The Craftsman trucks are Friday night at 8:30 on FS1, and I think I saw Kyle Busch is racing trucks, and I'm sorry, this is not the best radio dead air, but I'm going to look. I If Kyle Busch is racing trucks, and I know he hasn't been as quick this year as he wants to be, but there's never going to be a time where I pick against Kyle Busch in the truck series, and he is running in the 7 Spire truck. So give me Kyle Busch. That's not going to shock anybody. I think this might be it's either his last or his next to last truck start of the season. But Kyle Busch, give me him for the win in the trucks. Xfinity Series. My buddy, my good friend Daniel Dye, will be in the Xfinity Series this weekend at Texas in the TIG 10 College car. So everybody support him, and can't wait to watch him work. He seems to really do good at Texas. He did last year in the Alpha Prime car, ran really well there. Um, you know, there's no Cup guys in the Xfinity race that I see. Ryan Truex in the 20 is an interesting one, but I think I want to save him. He's got to be racing Dover in that 20. And I think I'll save him for that. Junior Motorsports has eventually got to have good luck. Like they, I don't know, that something is off there. You know, I don't know if it's necessarily off, but I go back to Allgaier leading at Phoenix with like 10 to go and blowing a tire, just extremely bad luck type things. Sam Mayer has seemed like he's been involved in every little thing that happens. So it could just be a luck thing. Um, so I'll pick um give me Sam Mayer. Give me Sam Mayer at Texas. Last year at Texas, he was out. He got involved in an early wreck that wasn't of his doing. I feel like if I could be totally wrong on this, but I think I remember him being involved in an early wreck and was out early. I like Sam Mayer and Junior Motorsports to get back into victory lane in the Xfinity Series. So I've got Kyle Busch, Sam Mayer, and I think the biggest storyline, going into Texas for the Cup Series, I think it's kind of got lost with all the short track. I mean, obviously the short track issue was going to be what everybody's talking about, but kind of lost in the shuffle. Jimmy Johnson is back in a Cup car this weekend in the '84 car, so that'll be cool to see. I hope he runs well at Texas. Um, who do I go with? That's a heck of a question, and I think this is going to shock some people. Um, but this guy ran really well here in the playoff race last year. Arguably should have won it. Got kind of screwed up on the restart. He battled Kyle Larson tooth and nail. I mean, door to door, battled him, outran him at some points during the Texas race last year. I think Larson's got to be the favorite, but the guy I'm picking to win at Texas is Bubba Wallace. I think he's due for a win, especially with as good as he's running, coming off a top 5 at Martinsville. I like Bubba Wallace to win at Texas. I'll watch out for the boos. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. But I think Bubba gets it done, and we'll see what happens there. And then after Texas, we go to Talladega. Time for super speedway racing at its finest. So, I had a great weekend in Martinsville. I didn't want to, start the I didn't want to be negative the whole podcast. I know a lot. Listen, I know the NASCAR podcast, the main thing everyone's talking about, just like last week. It was last week. It was didn't he jump the restart? Didn't he jump this? Didn't he did this? Okay, well, I didn't even really get much into that debate because I knew there's no changing it whether he did or not. Um, and Denny later admitted he said, "Yeah, I looking back at it, I probably did go a little early, but there's nothing. There was no debate about it because it wasn't going to get changed. I wanted to mention the short track stuff on this episode because there is that can change, and I think it will change. So just say that I know it's been a while. I know the next gen has been bad on short tracks for 2 years now, but I think changes are coming, and I really hope they are. So, um, thank you all as always for listening. You are a great audience. I'll ask the question. I'll give my rating real quick. Martinsville being there, I'll give it a 6. I know, Jeff Gluck's poll had like a 30 something percent yes on it, which is one of the record lows. So y'all let me know what you think. I'll go 6. I expect some of y'all to say between 4 and 5. Honestly, that would be my pick if I watched it on TV. But since I was there, I'll give it a 6. I'm probably favorable to NASCAR just because I love it so much. But you all let me know what you think. This has been JD Talks NASCAR. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and also on YouTube. Thank you all so much. And I can't wait to watch this race at Texas this week. Get some mile and a half action in, see how these cars run. And as always, thank you all so much. This has been JD Talks NASCAR.